So a few weeks ago, there was a new FCC filing for a new pair of Sony ANC headphones, and naturally, a lot of people started to speculate that these were the new Sony WH-1000XM5s, which honestly was just a whole bunch of clickbait BS. Personally, I think this is the FCC filing for the successors of Sony's entry-level ANC headphones, the WH-710Ns, which I personally think have a lot of room for improvement because these are a setback from their predecessors, the WH-700N. Nonetheless, here is my wish list and when I expect we can see the Sony WH-720N. Or at least that's what I think that's what they're going to be called, because Sony isn't too good at naming their things. Now first, there's pricing. Now Sony's entry-level headphones usually have a retail price of $200. However, Sony usually likes to put their entry-level headphones on sale for around $180 to $150. And on major shopping holidays like Prime Day, Black Friday, or during Christmas, they might put these headphones on sale for like $100. So what I'm trying to say here is, if Sony does release their WH-720Ns sometime soon, I guess either late spring or early summer, don't rush out and buy them. They will probably go on sale a couple of weeks after their release, because that's what happened with the XB910Ns, even with the supply chain shortages. Now, design-wise, the WH-710Ns are decent. They have a subtle design to them with relatively good build quality. However, these headphones are not as sturdy as their predecessors, and they surely aren't as sturdy as Sony's mid-tier ANC headphones, the XB910Ns, or the more premium 1000XM4s. However, one design element that I really hope Sony addresses on the WH-720Ns is their leatherette. Personally, I hate the leatherette found on the WH-710Ns. It is very rough and it is very coarse. It feels way worse than the leatherette found on their predecessors, the WH-700N, which feels pretty decent. So if Sony were to just change the leatherette on their entry-level headphones to something like what the WH-700Ns had, I would be super happy, because everything else about the WH-710Ns design-wise is fine. The WH-710Ns have decently large ear pads. These headphones rest very naturally on your head. They're relatively lightweight, weighing in at 220 grams, and they have very little clamping force, making them big head approved. New leatherette on the WH-720Ns is literally all that Sony needs to do. However, after the release of the Sony XB910Ns, I feel that these headphones are giving us a preview of what to expect from Sony's new headphones and their new design language. Overall, the XB910Ns are very well built, but personally, I am not a fan of this headphone's very bulbous headband. And personally, I feel that the WH-720Ns will also get a bulbous headband, as well as the 1000XM5s. So, overall, I feel that the WH-720Ns are going to have an all-new design to them. And I'm afraid that myself and a lot of other people out there are not going to like this new design language from Sony, because a lot of people don't like the look of the XB910Ns, myself included. Now, when it comes to tech specs, the WH-710Ns are decent. Battery life-wise, these headphones have an advertised battery life of 35 hours with their active noise cancellation turned on, and with their active noise cancellation turned off, they can go for as long as 45 hours. And these headphones charge via a USB-C port, as they should. However, I do feel that Sony could improve the fast charging on the WH-720N, because right now with the WH-710Ns, if you were to charge these headphones up for 10 minutes from a dead battery, they're only going to get you 1 hour of playback time, which is pretty weak. And if you do plan on using these headphones as a pair of workout headphones, then having good fast charging can be rather important, especially if you're going to go work out and then you realize, oh no, my battery is dead. Now, connectivity-wise, this is an area where the WH-710Ns really need work. Now, unfortunately, these headphones can only be connected to one device at a time, making them not the best option if you're a power user. However, Sony's newer ANC headphones, like their 1000XM4s and XB910Ns, can be simultaneously connected to any two Bluetooth devices at the same time. However, you do have to sacrifice LDAC. Now, personally, I don't think the WH-720Ns are going to have LDAC, period, because Sony does reserve that for their more premium headphones and earbuds, because even the new Link Buds, which retail for $180, don't have LDAC. However, I do think that the WH-720Ns will be able to be connected to two devices at the same time, because this is now just a feature that Sony just can't not have on their headphones anymore. And this is especially one of the things that really put the WH-710Ns at a disadvantage if you were to compare them to similar headphones, like let's say the Sennheiser HD450BTs or even the Razer Opus. But now we have to talk about listening to music with these headphones. Now personally, I don't really like how the WH-710N sound because these headphones have adopted a very bass-heavy sound signature. In order to hear the instrumentals on these headphones, or in order to hear the dialogue if you're watching a movie with these headphones, you gotta use them at max volume. And unfortunately, you can't directly adjust the EQ on these headphones, because unlike their predecessors and all of Sony's other headphones, the WH-710Ns don't connect to Sony's headphones app, so you can't fix the awful EQ on the WH-710Ns. So definitely with the WH-720Ns, I would like for Sony to bring back app support on these headphones, because the WH-700Ns had it and they sounded fairly decent. Now ultimately, Sony's headphones don't have the best instrument separation, but they do have a good amount of physicality to their bass, and overall, they get the job done. But now let's talk about the active noise cancellation on the WH-720Ns. Now personally, I don't expect there to be a major performance difference between the WH-710Ns and the WH-720Ns. And obviously, Sony is not going to allow their entry-level WH-720Ns to block out as much or more noise than their mid-tier ANC headphones, the XB910Ns. So, like you may have just heard, there could be some marginal ANC performance improvements from the WH-710Ns to the WH-720Ns, but I wouldn't expect them to block out as much or more noise than the XB910Ns. But overall, the ANC on Sony's entry-level ANC headphones is useful for like blocking out noise in a slightly chatty coffee shop, or to reduce the constant humming of road noise if you're on the bus. However, if active noise cancellation is very important to you, if you plan on constantly flying with your headphones, then you definitely want to upgrade to either the XB910Ns or the 1000XM4s. But overall, performance-wise, the ANC on these headphones is good because they have very little to no cabin pressure, and their ANC doesn't affect how your music sounds. Now, one feature that the WH-710Ns have that the WH-700Ns don't is an ambient mode, which is super useful either for your daily commuters, and it's also useful if you're just using these headphones at home. However, unlike with Sony's other headphones, you can't adjust how much noise the WH-710Ns let in. So hopefully, if Sony does bring back app support with their WH-720Ns, and they should bring back app support, then hopefully you'll be able to adjust how much noise the WH-720Ns let in. But finally, there's the microphone on these headphones. Now, in general, Sony has always struggled with their microphones for phone calls. Now, it's not just these headphones. The microphone on the more premium SB910Ns and the top of the line 1000XM4s also have rather sounding microphones. And it's not just their headphones. Their WF-1000XM4 earbuds and the new Sony Link Buds also don't have the best sounding microphones out there. So with the Sony WH-720Ns, I'm not expecting the best sounding microphone, but please, I do expect something better. But with all that being said, for me, the Sony WH-710Ns have always been a disappointment for me, especially since the WH-700Ns were pretty good. I really feel that Sony took a step back with the WH-710Ns because they removed features and they diminished their build quality, almost as if they were trying to force you to upgrade to their other headphones. Now, don't get me wrong, I wouldn't completely avoid these headphones. These headphones make for decent workout headphones at the gym. I just wouldn't pay more than $120 for the WH-710Ns. But hopefully, with the Sony WH-720Ns, Sony will bring back app support. I really hope that they really improve their fast charging, and I would really like to see much better feeling leatherette. But personally, I am rather nervous that we're going to see Sony roll out a new design language for their new WH-720Ns, which are going to feature a very bulbous headband. But I guess we're just gonna have to wait and see, because I do expect the WH-720Ns to be released in the spring or early summer of this year. If you made it this far, I guess you enjoyed the video, so hit the like button and get subscribed. If you want to pick any of the products up, they'll be linked down below. And if you want to further support the channel, check out the merch. I made some shirts and hoodies that look and feel great. And you know I can be very particular, so I'll only slap my name on something if I'm really proud of it.